Are you one of the readers who has bought the book Pride and Prejudice, tried reading the very first chapter, came to know that the words and the sentences in this book are very complex and very hard to understand, and that is how you just took the book, kept it on a side, and it's lying in that corner from that day? Yes, I got you. So today we are going to learn the very first chapter of the book Pride and Prejudice explained in very easy language and very easy words. Also, I'm going to give you the meanings of the difficult words that are included in this chapter so that the reading of this chapter becomes very easier for you and you can do it seamlessly without getting bored or disappointed as you were earlier. So let's get started. So let's meet the characters. So the first character is Mrs. Bennet. So she's talkative, dramatic, and determined to marry her daughters well. And her husband, Mr. Bennet, he's very witty, intelligent, and sarcastic. Enjoys teasing his family, and their eldest daughter, Jane Bennet, she's very kind and gentle. Her sister, Elizabeth Bennet, she's smart, independent, and quick-witted. Now comes the main person, that is Mr. Bingley. He is rich and very kind, and he's the person who is being talked about in the neighborhood the most. And he's new to the neighborhood, and he has a good fortune. Let's set the scene for the very first chapter without wasting any time. So, imagine this is Longbourn, and this is the Bennet family home. And in those times, in the early 1800s, in the Regency England time period, there were strict manners, class, and reputation, and that's all that mattered. And marriage was often about financial security and not love. So, the very first chapter and the very first line of this chapter, this is something that we all talk about. The line says, "It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in a want of a wife." So, this is a very important line from the chapter, and this means that it is a truth that is universally acknowledged. That means accepted by all. That a single man who is not yet married, who is in a possession of a good fortune, means who is rich, who has money, must be in want of a wife. That means he wants to get married. Now, I don't know, this is a misconception or this is a truth, but this is what it is written in the book. So let's get started with a summary of this chapter. So the chapter opens with one of the most famous lines in the English literature that we discussed in the previous slide. So Austen introduces a universal belief of Regency England time. Whenever a rich and unmarried man comes to live in a neighborhood, people assume he will soon look for a wife. We are then introduced to the Bennet family. When Mrs. Bennet learns that Mr. Bingley, a wealthy and eligible bachelor, has rented the Netherfield Park. In the book it is written, "The Netherfield Park is let at last." So this basically means it is rented by Mr. Bingley. The estate near their home. She becomes ecstatic, that means elated and very happy. Now, why is she happy? Because she is convinced that one of her 5 daughters must marry him and secure their future. And that's all what she cared about. And Mr. Bennet, however, reacts with sarcasm and indifference. That means he didn't want Mrs. Bennet to feel that he agreed to her. Intentionally, he wanted to disagree with what Mrs. Bennet was wanting. He pretends not to care, but secretly enjoys teasing his wife. Their lively conversation reveals their opposite personalities and family situation. The chapter highlights the importance of marriage, inheritance, wealth, and social status in the Regency Society. Regency Society basically means the time period in the early 1800s, while also showing Austen's wit and humor. Wit basically means intelligence, and humor just means fun and making people laugh. Now, the next page, Mrs. Bennet is completely preoccupied with marrying off her daughters. Preoccupied means she's always thinking about this. So, in that society, women had limited rights and could not inherit the property. A good marriage was the only hope for financial security and respectability. So Mr. Bennet understands this reality, but still he chooses to stay reserved and ironic. He chooses to stay unpredictable about this matter, and the chapter cleverly satirizes obsession. Satirizes means to mock the obsession with marrying well and dependence of women on men for the future. So the chapter highlights that in those times, women had to depend so much on men. But this is not what is right. So, Jane Austen in this chapter is trying to highlight the fact that it is not what's right and it should not happen. Well, the times have changed now. It also introduces key themes such as class, fortune, reputation, and family expectations. And by the end of this chapter, readers understand the Bennet household, its hopes, its concerns, and different personalities in the household. And the excitement about Mr. Bingley's arrival sets the stage for future events that you will see in the next chapters and the development of the relationships. So, the key themes introduced in this chapter are that marriage was a necessity in that period of time, and wealth and social class was what people considered important, women limited rights, and family expectations and humor and social satire. These are all the themes introduced in this chapter, and I hope that you liked the video and you found it helpful. So subscribe the channel, The English Atelier. From the first word to the fluent conversations will help you learn it all. Like and don't forget to share the video. Thank you and happy learning.